Welcome everybody to Football, the People's Game, and I am your host Horace. Today we'll be talking about the UEFA Champions League second leg semi-final ties between PSG versus Arsenal, Inter Milan versus Barcelona. Last week we had a thrilling first leg match with both ties not failing to give us a proper semi-final experience. Barcelona versus Inter Milan ended in a 3-3 with Inter Thuram scoring an early goal, Dumfries scoring 2 for Inter Milan. Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres scored for Barcelona and also an own goal from Sommer. An Arsenal versus PSG game ended in a 1-0 win for PSG heading into the second leg. So if you are a first-time viewer, this is Football, the People's Game. Remember to subscribe to follow more of our footballing analysis. And today I'm having with me in the studio Eto, who will be analyzing the second leg ties. So Eto, welcome to the show, Football, the People's Game.
My pleasure to be here, Horace.
All right, so last week we had the first leg of the UEFA Champions League semi-final. Arsenal versus PSG game ended in 1 win for PSG. Inter Milan and Barcelona ended in a 3-3 draw. So what would you be saying about that game before we commence with the second leg analysis?
Thank you very much, Horace. I think this is what a proper UCL Semi Final should look like.
Okay.
I mean, it was thrilling with the match still undecided, even after the first leg.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who is going through to the final. So with Barcelona playing 3-3 at home to Inter and one goal set PSG and Arsenal apart, I think everything goes down to the second leg.
All right, so that is an interesting game last week from the both ties, and this week, just like you said, the games are still undecided. Last week, Inter Milan away to Barcelona drew 3-3 with Thuram and Dumfries scoring twice for Inter Milan. Lamine Yamal, Ferran Torres, and also Sommer own goal gave Barcelona 3 as well to make the goal a 6-goal thriller. And going into the second leg, Inzaghi, Inter Milan's coach, has said that this second leg tie is a final before the final, and whoever wins plays another final. And Hansi Flick, Barcelona coach, has stated that the match is going to be a final. So what would you be saying about this second leg tie between Inter Milan versus Barcelona?
I think Hansi Flick and Inzaghi, these are two top coaches with vast experience, and this is a better way to motivate your team before a semi-final second leg to face the unfinished tasks in the second leg.
All right, so in the first leg, Lautaro Martinez was substituted due to injury, and we are still uncertain whether he will be available for this second leg tie. And also, Lewandowski was sat out because of an injury as well. I think there are rumors circulating that he will be having the green light to play the second leg tie. So what do you think about these players that were missing out from the first leg ties, especially Lewandowski missing out from the first leg tie for Barcelona due to injury, and also Lautaro Martinez being unable to finish the first leg? Do you think that has an impact on the game?
Not just Lewandowski, but also Alejandro Balde from Barcelona, and also Inter Milan's Lautaro Martinez. I think if he had been fit to finish the match, I think the scoreline could have been different for what we saw last week.
Okay, I think Lewandowski has been given the green light that he is going to be available for the second leg, and also Lautaro Martinez, I think he will be available for the second leg tie as well.
Yeah.
So with these two players being available, what would you be expecting in the second leg tie?
Another thrilling match.
All right. So we'll be talking about the PSG versus Arsenal game. Arsenal will be going away to PSG this week to play the second leg, and both teams lost 2-1 in their domestic leagues last weekend. And reacting to his loss in the Premier League to Bournemouth ahead of his match in the second leg semi-final versus PSG, he said that what we have created is a lot of rage, anger, frustration, and a bad feeling. So let's make sure we use that on Wednesday to have a massive performance in Paris, win the game, and be in the Champions League final. And PSG lost their match last weekend in League One. Luis Enrique rotated his squad, and also Mikel Arteta did rotate his squad last weekend as well. So when Luis Enrique was asked about his squad rotation, he said that, "I don't know which is better. They had rest periods when we didn't. Apart from the rest, all the objectives I had set were achieved." So what would you be making about these statements from the both coaches heading into the second leg?
Well, Arteta saying that the loss to Bournemouth has created a lot of anger, rage, and frustration, and that his side should use that as motivation to go into the second leg and win the tie. I think that's a bold statement from Arteta.
Okay. You know, Arteta this season is the third season with Arsenal that is ending second consecutively in the Premier League.
That's not verified yet.
I think
Man City could still.
Man City are just about 2 or 3 points behind them, and I think that has not been very much fair to Arsenal, despite all his effort and everything he has put in during the years at Arsenal. So what do you think that Arteta is missing in that his squad that could make the difference for him to start winning silverwares?
I think everybody knows what Arsenal is missing. I don't know why Arteta is not seeing it, because he made a very big mistake by not bringing in a proper striker in the January transfer window. I think Rashford and Asensio were available in the transfer market,
yes,
and he didn't go for them. I think they would be better up front for Arsenal than Mikel Merino that is using there currently,
and also Trossard.
Yeah. I think both Rashford and Asensio would be better than Trossard and Merino up front for Arsenal. So if he still remains Arsenal's coach, I think I would advise him, the first thing he should do in the summer is to go get a proper striker like Isak from Newcastle.
All right. So also going into the second leg semi-final, Luis Enrique for PSG has stated that he has achieved his set goals this season. Obviously, he has won the League One, and I think another of his set goal would be the Champions League. So what would you be making of that his statement going into the second leg?
Luis Enrique is an experienced coach, and I think that statement for me is just a mind game, because the League One shouldn't be a set-out goal for him, considering the fact that it's a normal thing for PSG to win the League One. I think their main set-out goal should be the UCL, which they have not won before, and they are going into the second leg with 1 goal advantage. So I think that statement from Luis Enrique is just a mind game.
All right. So quickly, we'll be taking your predictions for the second leg ties. So we'll be starting with Inter Milan versus Barcelona. First leg, they drew 3-3. So what would be your prediction in the second leg?
I don't think we'll be seeing much goals like we saw last weekend. So a 2-1 win for Barca wouldn't be bad.
All right. So quickly, we'll also be taking the prediction for PSG versus Arsenal. PSG are going into that game with 1 goal advantage with a goal from Dembele. So what will be your predictions for that?
I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
Okay, 1-1 draw, and on aggregate, PSG will be advancing into the final.
Exactly.
All right, so thank you very much, Eto.
Welcome.
All right, so everybody, this is Football, the People's Game. If you're a first-time viewer, please remember to subscribe to follow more of our footballing analysis. And we also need your predictions, so you'll be commenting your own predictions about these matches in the comment section. Thank you very much for being part of Football, the People's Game.